March 15th, 2024, 3:47 in the morning, 148th floor of the Burj Khalifa, Dubai. Fatima al-Rashid wakes up to a sound she's never heard before. Dragging, heavy, rhythmic. Something being pulled across marble floors. She's 15 years old. Lives in a penthouse worth 50 million dirhams. Has staff moving around at all hours. This should be normal, but it's not. She opens her bedroom door, peers down the service corridor. Her father is there, Ahmed al-Rashid, billionaire, logistics empire, face on the sides of buildings, philanthropist who funds children's hospitals. He's dragging something toward the service elevator. Not something, someone. Marisol, the new maid, 19 years old. Been in their home for 6 days. Arrived from Manila with a contract that promised hotel work. Her head is at the wrong angle. Neck bent like a broken doll. Eyes open. Staring at nothing. Her chest isn't moving. Ahmed looks up. Sees his daughter standing there in her silk pajamas, hair messy from sleep. 15 years old. Watching him drag a dead body across their penthouse. Their eyes meet across 15 feet of hallway. He doesn't panic, doesn't explain, doesn't apologize. Just says 4 words. Go back to bed, Fatima. And she does. Walks back into her room, closes the door, sits on her bed in the darkness, stares at the wall until sunrise. At 6 a.m., Fatima al-Rashid walks out of the Burj Khalifa, doesn't pack a bag, doesn't leave a note. Just her phone and a black notebook. In that notebook, 15 names. 15 women who went back to the Philippines. 15 women her mother said missed their families. 15 women who never made it home. By 6:30 a.m., she's sitting in Dubai Police Headquarters. Notebook open on the table in front of her. Officer staring at her like she's lost her mind. She's not. My name is Fatima al-Rashid, she says. My parents have killed 15 women. I can tell you where some of the bodies are. Welcome to True Crime Story 247. If you're here, you're not just scrolling for shock value. You actually want to understand how a 15-year-old girl can live in a penthouse in the sky and not see that her parents are murderers. How she can watch women disappear for 11 years and tell herself it's normal. Subscribe. Because this isn't about poverty. This isn't about desperation. This is about something worse. This is about privilege as a blindfold. This is about looking the other way when you have everything to lose. This is about a child who spent her entire life being taught that some people matter and some people don't. And the moment she finally understood the difference. To understand how Fatima ended up in that police station with 15 names in a notebook, we need to go back. Back to when she was 4 years old. Back to the first woman who disappeared. Back to when she was too young to understand that went back to the Philippines was a lie. Her name was Rosario. Fatima's earliest memory isn't her first birthday or learning to walk. It's Ate Rosario singing. Tagalog lullabies. Soft voice. Warm hands braiding her hair before school. The smell of tocino frying in the kitchen at 6 a.m. Garlic rice. Fried eggs with runny yolks. Rosario taught her words. Maganda, beautiful. Salamat, thank you. Mahal kita, I love you. Fatima was 4 years old, and Rosario was her whole world. Then one morning, Rosario was gone. Fatima walked into the kitchen. Different woman standing at the stove, older. Didn't smile the same way. Where's Ate Rosario? Olivia al-Rashid, Fatima's mother, sat at the breakfast table. British accent. Blonde hair pulled back. Not looking up from her phone. She went back to the Philippines, darling. She missed her family. Fatima accepted this. She was 4. Why would her mother lie? But here's what 4-year-old Fatima didn't understand. Rosario left without saying goodbye, without hugging her one last time, without even leaving a note. Adults don't do that. Not when they love you. But Fatima didn't know that yet. Ahmed al-Rashid built his fortune from nothing. Born in Sharjah, 1964. Father worked in construction. Mother cleaned houses. Then Ahmed watched his parents break their backs for pennies and decided he'd never be poor again. Started small. Logistics. Moving cargo between Jebel Ali and Mumbai. 1 shipping container. Then 10. Then 100. By 1995, he owned warehouses stretching across Jebel Ali Free Zone. By 2000, he had government contracts worth billions. By 2005, his face appeared on the sides of buildings, legitimate on the surface. Underneath, a trafficking network that moved humans the same way he moved cargo. Olivia Harper met him in London, 1999. She was 24, modeling for Burberry, living in a cramped Chelsea flat share with 2 other girls, struggling to make rent. Beautiful but expendable. The fashion industry had 1,000 girls just like her. Ahmed walked into that charity gala like he owned it. Because he did. His company was the primary sponsor. He was 35, worth 200 million dirhams, connected to every ministry in the UAE. He saw Olivia across the room. Blonde, tall, British accent. The kind of woman who would open doors in Dubai that money alone couldn't. They married 6 months later. Olivia traded her cramped London life for a penthouse on the 148th floor. Designer closets the size of her old flat. First-class travel. Staff who appeared and disappeared like ghosts. She learned not to ask questions. By the time Fatima turned 8, she'd stopped learning the maids' names. What was the point? They arrived, stayed 6 months, maybe a year, then gone. Went back to the Philippines, missed their families. Every single time, new face in the kitchen, new accent, new songs in a language Fatima didn't understand. But here's what Fatima did notice. The maids loved her. He really loved her. They taught her songs, showed her photos of their own children back in Manila, Cebu, Davao, braided her hair the way Rosario used to, told her she was beautiful, smart, kind. And then they left. No goodbye, no forwarding address, no letters, no phone calls, just gone. Fatima drew a conclusion that made sense to an 8-year-old. They don't actually care about me. They just pretend because it's their job. She built a wall after that. Don't get attached. Don't learn their names until they've been here at least 6 months. Don't trust them. They'll leave anyway. Fatima was 9 when Teresita arrived. 32 years old, round face, warm eyes. 3 children back in Cebu, 2 boys and a girl. She showed Fatima their photographs constantly, kept them in her apron pocket, pulled them out while cooking, cleaning, and folding laundry. This is Miguel. He wants to be a doctor, top of his class. This is Paolo, the troublemaker, always getting into fights at school. And this is my baby Maricel. She's 9. Same age as you, Miss Fatima. Maybe one day you can be friends. Fatima broke her own rule. She got attached. Teresita braided her hair the way Rosario used to, made the same breakfast, tocino, garlic rice, runny eggs, sang the same lullabies when Fatima couldn't sleep. For 6 months, Fatima let herself believe this one might stay. Then one night she heard crying. Not soft crying, desperate sobbing, coming from the kitchen. Fatima crept down the hallway, peeked through the crack in the door. Teresita on her knees on the tile floor, hands clasped together, begging, "Please, ma'am, just one phone call. My daughter is sick. Knock the school called my sister. Maricel has dengue fever. She's in the hospital. I haven't spoken to my children in 6 months. Please, just 5 minutes. Olivia stood over her, arms crossed, face empty. You know the rules, Teresita. No phone calls, no exceptions. But ma'am, she's 9 years old. She's asking for me. Please, go to your room. We'll discuss this with Mr. Ahmed in the morning. Teresita walked past Fatima's hiding spot. Didn't see her, face wet with tears, hands shaking. Next morning, Fatima woke up early, ran to the kitchen. Different woman at the stove. Where's Ate Teresita? Olivia, sitting at the breakfast table, didn't look up. She went back to the Philippines, darling. She missed her family. Fatima was 9 years old, and for the first time she didn't believe her mother. Ahmed al-Rashid's logistics company was a front. The real business. Human trafficking. Recruitment agencies in Manila. Fake job postings. Hotel receptionists, nurses, administrative assistants. Salaries that seemed too good to be true. They were. Women paid placement fees, borrowed money from relatives, sold family land, mortgaged their futures for a chance at a better life. Arrived in Dubai with dreams, left the airport with nothing. Passports confiscated at immigration, told they owed processing fees, 50,000 dirhams, 100,000, numbers that would take years to work off. Placed in homes across the Emirates, worked 18-hour days, slept in storage closets, forbidden from contacting families. Ahmed collected placement fees from the employers, collected monthly kickbacks from the wages, collected bribes from officials who looked the other way. A perfect system. Until workers became problematic, tried to escape, threatened to go to the embassy, got pregnant, knew too much. Then they disappeared. The women in Ahmed's own home were the most dangerous. They were witnesses. They saw the ledgers, heard phone calls, saw men arriving at the service entrance at 3 a.m. with duffel bags full of cash. They could never be allowed to leave. Olivia maintained the facade. She interviewed the workers when they arrived, monitored their movements, reported problems to Ahmed with the same casual tone she used to discuss dinner reservations. This one talks too much. That one's been asking about her passport. The new girl tried to use the telephone. Ahmed handled it from there. Fatima was 10 when she saw Corazon try to escape on Tuesday afternoon, February 2019. Fatima doing homework in her bedroom, math problems she didn't care about, then shouting, faint, coming from far below. She ran to the floor-to-ceiling windows, looked down. 148 floors below, the plaza, the entrance to Dubai Mall. Tiny figures moving like ants. One figure running, barefoot, still in her uniform, sprinting across the plaza toward the mall entrance. Corazon. She'd replaced Teresita 6 months ago, quiet. Kept her head down. Never made eye contact with Ahmed. Now she was running for her life. Almost made it. Security caught her at the entrance. 2 men, big, fast. They grabbed her arms, dragged her back across the plaza while she screamed. Fatima couldn't hear the words from 148 floors up, but she could see Corazon's mouth moving, screaming in Tagalog, English, any language that might make someone help her. Nobody did. A black SUV pulled up. Ahmed stepped out, walked toward Corazon with slow, deliberate steps, grabbed her by the arm, pulled her toward the service entrance. Corazon went limp, stopped fighting, like she knew it was over. That night, Fatima heard screaming. Different from Teresita's crying, this was raw, terrified, coming from the basement parking level. Fatima covered her ears, buried her face in her pillow, told herself it was a nightmare, that she was imagining it, that Corazon would be in the kitchen tomorrow morning making breakfast. She wasn't. Next morning, different woman at the stove. Olivia at the breakfast table. Where's Ada Corazon? She went back to the Philippines, darling. She missed her family. Fatima nodded. Ada her breakfast. Went to school. He's never asked about the maids again. Ages 10 to 14. 7 more women came and went. Fatima stopped noticing their faces, stopped learning their names until they'd been there at least a month. No point getting attached to someone who might disappear tomorrow. She moved through her own home like a ghost. Didn't bring friends over from school, didn't ask questions. Took up as little space as possible. Her bedroom was on the opposite end of the penthouse from her parents. Good. Less chance of running into them. The maids' quarters were near the service elevator. Also good. Less chance of getting attached. Fatima's school counselor noticed. Called Olivia in for a meeting. October 2022. Mrs. Al-Rashid, I'm concerned about Fatima. She's withdrawn. Doesn't engage with other students. Seems absent. Olivia smiled. Perfect teeth. Designer dress. Aim teenagers, you know. What can you do? The counselor pressed. Has anything changed at home? Any stress? Family issues? Nothing at all. Fatima has everything she could possibly want. And she did. Materially. Penthouse in the sky. Unlimited spending money, private school, designer clothes. Everything except the ability to trust that the people in her home wouldn't vanish. Davina, January 2023. Fatima is 14. New maid arrives. Davina, 35 years old. Former school teacher from Bohol. Husband died 2 years ago. Cancer left her drowning in medical debt. She was different from the others, educated. Didn't cower when Olivia spoke. Didn't flinch when Ahmed walked into the room. And she noticed things. Noticed Fatima never smiled. Noticed she never brought friends home. And noticed she moved through the penthouse like she was trying to be invisible. One morning, Fatima found a note tucked under her bedroom door. Small piece of paper. Neat handwriting. You are not your parents. You can choose who you become. Fatima didn't know what it meant, but she kept it, folded it, put it in her jewelry box under a tangle of gold necklaces she never wore. More notes followed, slipped into her textbooks, tucked into her school uniform pockets, hidden in places only Fatima would find. The truth is heavy, but silence is heavier. Every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. You have a good heart. Don't let them take it from you. Fatima started writing back. Notes hidden in the sugar canister, under the bathroom scale, taped to the underside of her desk drawer. Voice, I know what happens to them. I've always known. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. Davina's response came 3 days later, simple, direct. Start by remembering their names. That night, Fatima opened a black notebook, sat at her desk, pen in hand, started writing. Rosario, first one she remembered, braided her hair, sang lullabies. Disappeared when Fatima was 4, Teresita, showed her photos of Maricel, got on her knees and begged for one phone call. Gone the next morning. Corazon, ran across the plaza barefoot, screamed in languages nobody understood, dragged back. She kept writing, every name she could remember, every face, every detail. By the time she finished, she had 14 names, 14 women who went back to the Philippines, 14 women who never sent letters, never called, and never contacted Fatima again, despite telling her they loved her. 14 women who vanished. Fatima closed the notebook, hid it at the bottom of her closet under a pile of shoes she never wore. And for the first time in her life, she let herself think the thought she'd been avoiding for 10 years. They didn't go home. They never went home. February 2024. Davina showed Fatima a photograph, small, worn at the edges, carried in her apron pocket, a girl, 14 years old, same age as Fatima, school uniform, bright smile. "This is Grace. My daughter." Fatima looked at the photo, saw herself. Different face, same age, same hope in the eyes. "She's beautiful. I haven't spoken to her in 8 months." Davina's voice cracked. "Your mother won't let me use the phone, says it's against the rules." They were in the kitchen, alone. Olivia at a spa appointment. Ahmed at his office. "What rules?" "No phone calls, no internet, no contact with family until the debt is paid." "What debt?" Davina looked at her, really looked at her. "They told me I owe 80,000 dirhams, processing fees, placement fees, fees I never agreed to. They took my passport the day I arrived." Fatima's stomach twisted. "How long until it's paid?" "At the salary they're paying me? 7 years?" 7 years? Without speaking to her daughter, Fatima made a decision. Went to her bedroom, found her old iPhone, replaced 2 years ago but still functional, still connected to the penthouse Wi-Fi, charged it overnight. Next morning slipped it to Davina in the kitchen. "Call her every night after everyone's asleep, just be careful. Delete the call history." Davina's eyes filled with tears. "All right, Miss Fatima, don't thank me, just call your daughter." For 3 weeks, Davina called Grace every night, whispered conversations in Visayan, crying silently into the phone, telling Grace she loved her, that she'd come home soon, that everything would be okay. February 14th, 2024. Olivia found the phone. Fatima doesn't know how, doesn't know if Davina got careless or if Olivia was searching rooms, doesn't matter. That night, Fatima heard screaming from the basement. She recognized the voice. Davina, the woman who told her she could choose who she became, the woman who gave her the courage to write down the names. Screaming. Then silence. Next morning, different woman in the kitchen. Fatima didn't ask, already knew the answer. February 21st, 2024. 1 week later, new maid arrives. Marisol, 19 years old, from a small town in Leyte, barely older than Fatima. She has frightened eyes, trembling hands. Fatima watches her unpack in the maid's quarters. One small suitcase, everything she owns. "They said I'd be working at a hotel," Marisol says. English broken but understandable. "Front desk. They showed me photos. A nice hotel, good salary." Fatima says nothing. "But when I arrived, your mother said there was a mistake. Said the hotel job fell through. Said I'd work here instead, just for a few months, until the debt is paid." "What debt?" "Processing fees, 65,000 dirhams. I don't understand. The agency said all fees were covered." Fatima looks at this 19-year-old girl, sees herself in 4 years, sees Davina's daughter Grace, sees every woman who ever walked through that door believing they were going to a better life. "Listen to me," Fatima says. "Sir, don't ask about your passport. Don't ask to use the phone. Don't ask questions. Just do your work and stay quiet." Marisol nods, confused but compliant. "Why?" Fatima almost tells her, almost says, "Because the last woman who asked to use the phone is dead." But she doesn't, just says, "Trust me." March 14th, 2024. Marisol has been in the penthouse for 3 weeks. She's learning the routine. Wake at 5 a.m., breakfast for the family by 6:30, clean, do laundry, prepare lunch, serve dinner, clean again. Sleep in the storage room at 11 p.m. Olivia watches her constantly. Fatima sees it. The way her mother follows Marisol with her eyes, the way she asks questions. "Where are you from? Do you have family? How did you hear about this job?" Testing, probing, looking for weakness. March 14th, evening. Fatima's in her room, hears raised voices from the kitchen, walks down the hallway, stops outside the door. Olivia's voice, cold, sharp. "I found this in your room." "Ma'am, I can explain. You tried to send a letter to your family." Silence. "Ma'am, please, I just wanted them to know I'm okay. They haven't heard from me in 3 weeks. They're worried. You know the rules. No contact until your debt is paid." "But I didn't agree to a debt. The agency said..." "The agency lied. You owe 65,000 dirhams. If you can't pay it back, you work it off. That's how this works." Marisol's voice breaks. "How long?" 5 years, maybe 6. Fatima hears crying, soft, defeated. Then Olivia. "We'll discuss this with Mr. Ahmed when he gets home." Fatima returns to her room, lies in bed, stares at the ceiling. She knows what "discuss this with Mr. Ahmed" means, and she's known for 5 years. Since Corazon, since the screaming from the basement, since women started disappearing and never coming back. At 2 a.m., Fatima still can't sleep. Gets up, opens her closet, pulls out the black notebook, opens to a blank page, writes, "Divina, 15 names now." She closes the notebook, hears something in the hallway, movement, heavy footsteps, the mechanical hum of the service elevator. She opens her door, looks down the corridor. Her father is there. And everything changes. March 15th, 2024, 3:47 a.m. Fatima stands in the hallway. Her father is 15 feet away, dragging Marisol's body toward the service elevator. She should scream, should run, should do something. But she's frozen. Ahmed straightens up, looks directly at his daughter. No panic in his eyes, no fear, just calculation. It's like he's deciding something. How much does she know? How much has she seen? How much of a problem is she? "Go back to bed, Fatima." 4 words, calm, steady, the same tone he uses to order coffee. Fatima's legs move on their own. Back to her room. Close the door. Lock it. She sits on her bed. Stares at the wall. Her brain won't process what she just saw. Marisol, dead. Neck broken, eyes open, and 19 years old. Been in their home for 3 weeks. Tried to send a letter to her family yesterday. Just wanted them to know she was okay. Now she's dead, and Fatima's father is disposing of her body like she's garbage. 4:15 a.m. Fatima hears the service elevator descend, mechanical hum fading into distance. She doesn't move. 4:47 a.m. The elevator returns, empty. Footsteps in the hallway. Ahmed walking back to his bedroom. Door closing. Silence. Or 5:30 a.m. Fatima stands up, opens her closet, pulls out the black notebook from under the pile of shoes, opens to the last page where she wrote Divina's name, adds one more. Marisol, 19 years old, from Leyte, promised a hotel job, tried to send a letter home, killed March 15th, 2024, 15 names now. She closes the notebook, looks around her bedroom, king-size bed, designer furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking all of Dubai, everything a girl could want, built on 15 dead women. She makes a decision, opens her closet, doesn't pack a bag, just puts on jeans, a t-shirt, sneakers, grabs her phone, grabs the notebook. 5:47 a.m. She walks out of her bedroom for the last time, down the hallway, past her parents' bedroom, past the kitchen where a new maid will appear tomorrow morning like nothing happened, past 15 years of lies, and she presses the elevator button, descends 148 floors, walks through the lobby past the security desk. The guard nods at her. "Good morning, Miss Al-Rashid." She doesn't respond. Steps outside, The sun is rising over Dubai, sky turning from black to purple to orange. She flags a taxi. Where to, miss? Nearest police station. The driver looks at her in the rear-view mirror. 15-year-old girl, alone, no bag, 6 a.m. Are you okay? Just drive, please. 6:23 a.m. They arrive at Al Barsha police station. Fatima pays the driver, gets out, stands in front of the station for a long moment. Once she walks through those doors, everything changes. Her parents will be arrested. Their empire will collapse. The Al Rashid name, plastered on buildings, hospitals, schools across Dubai, will become synonymous with trafficking and murder. And she will lose everything. The penthouse, the money, the life she's always known. But 15 women are dead. And if she doesn't speak, number 16 will arrive next week. She walks inside. Officer at the desk looks up. Can I help you? Fatima places the notebook on the counter. My name is Fatima al-Rashid. My parents have killed 15 women. I can tell you where some of the bodies are. The officer stares at her. Miss, this is a serious accusation. I watched my father drag a dead body to the service elevator 4 hours ago. Her name was Marisol. She's 19 years old. Her body is somewhere in this building right now, in a storage unit or a shipping container or the trunk of his car. I don't know which, but she's dead, and she's not the first. Fatima opens the notebook, shows him the names. 15 women. All Filipina, all domestic workers, all employed by my parents, all disappeared. Police reports were never filed. Death certificates were never issued. They just vanished. The officer picks up the phone. I need a detective down here, now. 8:45 a.m., interview room 3. Detective Sarah Al-Mazrouei sits across from Fatima, notebook open between them. Talk me through this, Sarah says, from the beginning. Fatima starts with Rosario, 4 years old, first woman she remembers disappearing. Moves through each name, each face, each detail she can remember. Teresita begging for a phone call, Corazon running across the plaza. Davina's notes hidden in textbooks. Sarah takes notes, asks questions. You said your father dragged a body this morning? In what time? 3:47 a.m. You're certain of the time? I checked my phone. What did you do after you saw this? Went back to my room, waited until morning, came here. Why didn't you call police immediately? Fatima looks at her. Because I've watched 15 women disappear, and every time my mother said they went back to the Philippines, and I believed her, or I pretended to believe her, or I convinced myself it didn't matter. I don't know which is worse. Sarah's expression softens. You were a child. I was old enough to know something was wrong, old enough to ask questions. I just didn't want to know the answers. 10:30 a.m. More detectives arrive. Fatima repeats her story. They ask about Ahmed's business, his warehouses, his shipping routes. She tells them everything she knows, which isn't much. And her father never discussed business at home. But she knows locations. The storage unit in Al Quoz, where her father keeps overflow inventory. The warehouse in Ajman. The shipping containers at Jebel Ali. Check those places, she says. If they're hiding bodies, that's where they'd be. 12:15 p.m. Police execute search warrants. The penthouse on the 148th floor. Ahmed's office in Dera, the warehouses. Olivia calls Fatima's phone 17 times. Fatima doesn't answer. Ahmed calls twice. Leaves one voicemail. Fatima, I don't know what you think you saw last night, but we need to talk. Come home, we'll explain everything. She deletes it. 2:47 p.m. Al Quoz storage unit. Police find the first body. Marisol, wrapped in plastic sheeting, stuffed in a commercial freezer unit. Dead less than 12 hours. Her missing cause of death. Blunt force trauma to the head. Broken neck. They find 3 more bodies in the same unit. Davina, 6 weeks dead, same cause of death. 2 others, partially decomposed, identified later through dental records as women who disappeared from the Al-Rashid household in 2021 and 2022. 4:30 p.m., Jebel Ali Port, container number JA4829. Registered to Al-Rashid Logistics. Listed contents, automotive parts. Actual contents, 2 bodies. Advanced decomposition, both female, both Filipina based on preliminary examination. 6:15 p.m., warehouse in Ageman, unmarked room in the back of the building. Concrete floor, industrial freezer. 5 more bodies. Some recent, some years old, all women. All consistent with the physical descriptions of missing domestic workers from Ahmed's employment records. 8 months. And that's how long Davina went without speaking to her daughter. Because Fatima's mother, a woman who spent 50,000 dirhams on a handbag without blinking, wouldn't let her make one phone call. If that makes you angry, good. You should be. Subscribe to True Crime Story 247. Because the worst part? What happens when they find the other bodies? What the investigation uncovers about how long this has been going on. Stay with me. March 15th, 9:30 p.m. Ahmed and Olivia Al-Rashid are arrested at the penthouse. Ahmed doesn't resist, allows himself to be handcuffed. Face blank. Olivia screams, "Where is my daughter? What have you done with Fatima?" Detective Sarah, "Your daughter is safe. She's the one who reported you." Olivia's face goes white. "That's impossible. Fatima would never." "Your daughter has been cooperating with our investigation all day. She provided locations for the bodies, detailed testimony about what she witnessed. She's the reason we found Marisol before you had a chance to dispose of her permanently." Olivia's knees buckle. Ahmed catches her arm. "Don't say anything," he tells his wife. "And not one word. We'll call our lawyers." They're led out in handcuffs, photographers waiting outside the Burj Khalifa, news crews. By 10 p.m., it's the top story across every channel in the UAE. Billionaire Ahmed Al-Rashid arrested in connection with the deaths of multiple domestic workers. 15 women allegedly killed over an 11-year period. His 15-year-old daughter provided the testimony that broke the case. March 16th, 2024. Fatima sits in a hotel room provided by Dubai police. He's a social worker assigned to her case. Name is Layla. Kind eyes. Soft voice. "Your grandmother in London has been contacted," Layla says. "She's flying in tomorrow. You'll stay with her." Fatima nods. Doesn't speak. She's been awake for 37 hours. Hasn't eaten since yesterday morning. Layla orders room service. Fatima picks at the food. Can't stomach it. "You did the right thing," Layla says. Did she? 15 women are dead. And Fatima lived in that penthouse for 15 years. Watched them disappear one by one. She could have spoken up at 9 when Teresita was begging for a phone call. At 10 when Corazon was dragged back from her escape attempt. At any point in the last 6 years. But she didn't. She kept quiet. Kept her head down. Protected herself. "I should have known sooner," Fatima says. "You were a child. I was old enough to know something was wrong." Layla doesn't argue. Just sits with her in the silence. March 17th to August 2024. Dubai police work the case for 6 months. 15 bodies recovered in total. 11 identified through dental records, DNA testing, and documentation from Philippine immigration records. 4 remain unidentified. All women. All between ages 18 and 45. All consistent with the profile of domestic workers trafficked into the UAE. The investigation expands beyond just the murders. Ahmed's shipping company, his recruitment agencies in Manila, his network of employers across the Emirates who paid him monthly fees for workers. They find ledgers, encrypted communications, bank transfers to offshore accounts, a trafficking operation that moved hundreds of women, placed them in homes, or collected fees, and eliminated anyone who became problematic. Ahmed's business partners cooperate immediately. They provide records, testimony, access to communications. Many of them claim they didn't know about the murders, just the trafficking. Police aren't sure they believe them, but the evidence against Ahmed and Olivia is overwhelming. The business partners get immunity deals in exchange for testimony. April 2024. Fatima's grandmother. Margaret Harper arrives from London. 68 years old. Olivia's mother. Hasn't seen Fatima since she was 7. They'd had a falling out. Margaret never approved of Olivia's marriage to Ahmed. Thought he was controlling, manipulative, dangerous. Stopped speaking to her daughter after Olivia refused to listen. Now she sits across from Fatima in a London flat and looks at this 15-year-old stranger who has her daughter's eyes. "I'm sorry I wasn't there," Margaret says. "You tried to warn her." "I should have tried harder." Fatima shakes her head. She wouldn't have listened. They sit in silence. "What happens to me now?" Fatima asks. "You stay with me, finish school, build a life that isn't defined by what your parents did. People will always know the Al-Rashid name. You can change your name. We'll change it legally. You'll be Fatima Harper. Fresh start." Fatima isn't sure she deserves a fresh start. 15 women don't get one. June 2024. Olivia's defense. The trial is set for September, but Olivia's lawyers file preliminary motions. Claim she was a victim too. Controlled by Ahmed. Didn't know about the murders. The prosecution presents evidence. Fatima's notebook. Each contains quotes from Olivia. This one talks too much. That one needs to be dealt with. Make sure the new girl doesn't cause problems like the last one. Text messages between Olivia and Ahmed. February 13th, 2024. The new girl tried to send a letter. We need to handle this before it becomes a problem. Ahmed's response: "I'll take care of it." Next morning, Davina is dead. March 14th, 2024. Marisol is asking questions about her passport, about when she can call her family. She's becoming difficult. Ahmed's response: "Leave it to me." 12 hours later, Marisol is dead. Olivia's defense collapses. She knew. She participated. She facilitated. She might not have killed anyone with her own hands, but she pointed Ahmed toward the targets. August 2024. Fatima's testimony. Prosecution asks Fatima to testify at trial. She's a minor. You could refuse. Could give a deposition instead, but she agrees to appear in person. "They need to see my face," she tells Margaret, the families of the women. "They need to know someone remembers." Margaret wants to protect her, wants to shield her from the media, the cameras, the public scrutiny. But Fatima is firm. "I lived in that house for 15 years. I watched them disappear. The least I can do is stand up in court and tell the truth." September 15th, 2024. Trial begins. Dubai Criminal Court. Courtroom packed. Families of the victims. Media from around the world. Human rights organizations. Ahmed and Olivia sit at the defense table. Separate lawyers. Both pleading not guilty. Ahmed's strategy. He was running a labor placement business. Some workers died of natural causes or accidents. He panicked, hid the bodies. Wrong, yes, but not murder. Olivia's strategy. She didn't know. Thought the women really were going home. Ahmed handled everything. She's a victim of his deception. Both strategies fall apart when Fatima takes the stand. September 18th, 2024. Fatima's testimony. Day 1. Prosecutor. State your name for the record. Fatima Harper, formerly Fatima al-Rashid. You lived with the defendants? Yes, they're my parents. Tell the court about the domestic workers in your home. Fatima talks for 3 hours. Starts with Rosario. The first woman she remembers, how she disappeared overnight. Moves through each name, each woman, each disappearance. Defense attorneys object repeatedly. Hearsay. Speculation. The witness was a child. Her memories are unreliable. The judge overrules most objections. The witness is describing her first-hand observations. I'll allow it. Day 2. Prosecutor. Tell the court about Teresita. Fatima describes the night she saw Teresita begging for a phone call, her mother's refusal, Teresita's disappearance the next morning. And what did your mother tell you when you asked about Teresita? She said Teresita went back to the Philippines, that she missed her family. Did you believe her? I was 9 years old. I wanted to believe her. When did you stop believing? Fatima looks at Olivia. Her mother won't meet her eyes. The morning Teresita disappeared, because I saw her passport the day before in my mother's office. If Teresita went home, she did it without identification. Day 3. Prosecutor. Describe what you saw on March 15th, 2024. Fatima takes a breath. Describes waking up at 3:47 a.m., hearing the dragging sound. Opening her door. We're seeing her father with Marisol's body. The courtroom is silent. What did your father say to you? Go back to bed, Fatima. And did you? Yes. Why didn't you call police immediately? Because I'd watched this happen my entire life. Women disappearing. My mother saying they went home. And I convinced myself it was normal. That I was imagining things. That I was wrong. Pause. But I wasn't wrong. I knew. Somewhere deep down, I always knew. Ahmed's attorney cross-examines. Miss Al-Rashid. Harper. My name is Fatima Harper. Miss Harper, you claim you saw my client dragging a body, but it was 3:47 in the morning. The hallway has dim lighting. Are you certain of what you saw? Yes. You weren't half asleep, confused, possibly having a nightmare? Marisol's body was found 12 hours later. I wasn't dreaming. But you didn't see my client kill anyone, did you? No. You didn't witness any of the alleged murders? No, just the aftermath. So everything you're testifying to is based on assumptions, interpretations, a child's understanding of adult situations. Fatima looks directly at Ahmed's attorney. 15 women disappeared from our home. My mother told me they all went back to the Philippines. Police found 11 bodies in my father's storage units and warehouses. That's not an assumption, that's evidence. The attorney has no response. Olivia's attorney is gentler, tries to paint Olivia as another victim. Your mother never harmed anyone, did she? She pointed my father toward the women who became problems. You don't know that. I have her text messages. The prosecution has her text messages. February 13th. She told my father Davina was a problem that needed to be handled. Davina was dead the next morning. Those texts could mean anything. Fatima's voice cuts through. What else could they mean? Silence. My mother knew. She knew what happened to these women. She knew they weren't going home. She knew and she didn't care. Because caring would have meant giving up the penthouse, the money, the life she chose over basic human decency. Olivia starts crying at the defense table. Fatima doesn't look at her. 15 years, 15 women. and one 15-year-old girl who finally said enough. If you've come this far, you're not leaving now. Subscribe to True Crime Story 247 because what happens in the next 5 minutes is why we tell these stories. The verdict, the sentence, the moment everything changes. December 2nd, 2024. Verdict. And the jury deliberates for 11 hours, returns with a decision. Ahmed al-Rashid. Guilty. 15 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit human trafficking, fraud, kidnapping. Olivia al-Rashid. Guilty. 15 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, accessory to human trafficking, obstruction of justice. December 15th, 2024. Sentencing. Ahmed al-Rashid. Death by firing squad. Olivia al-Rashid. Life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Both will appeal. Appeals will fail. After sentencing, families of the victims speak. Marisol's mother traveled from Leyte. Small woman. Work-worn hands. Eyes that have cried all their tears. She reads a statement through a translator. My daughter was 19 years old. She wanted to help our family. The agency promised her a good job, good pay, a better future. Instead, she was killed. Due 3 weeks. That's all she had. 3 weeks before they decided she was a problem. Pause. Voice breaking. I thank Fatima Harper for speaking the truth, for remembering my daughter's name, for making sure the world knows what happened. Davina's daughter Grace is there too. 16 now. Traveled with her aunt. She doesn't give a statement, can't speak, just cries. Fatima watches from the gallery. Wants to approach them, apologize. Tell them she's sorry she didn't speak sooner. Margaret holds her back. Not today, they need time. December 3rd, 2024. Day before sentencing. Fatima sits in a hotel room in Dubai. Can't go back to the penthouse. It's been seized as evidence, crime scene. Everything inside, furniture, clothes, photos, will be auctioned off. Proceeds going to a victim compensation fund. Margaret is with her. They're flying back to London tomorrow after sentencing. Fatima's phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer, but something makes her pick up. Hello? Silence. Then a woman's voice, heavily accented English. Is this Fatima al-Rashid? Harper. Fatima Harper. My name is Elena Santos. You don't know me, but I worked for your father 8 years ago. Fatima's chest tightens. What do you want? I want to say thank you. Fatima doesn't understand. Elena continues. I was placed in a home in Abu Dhabi, family of 6. They took my passport, made me work 20 hours a day, beat me when I was too slow, locked me in a storage room at night. Fatima closes her eyes. After 2 years, I tried to escape. Got caught. Your father was called. He came to the house. I thought he was going to kill me. Pause. But he didn't. Meeks, the family paid him extra, 50,000 dirhams, to make me disappear properly. Transport me somewhere I could never come back from. Fatima's hands shake. He put me in a shipping container, drove me to Jebel Ali port. I heard him talking to someone about shipping me to Somalia, selling me there. How did you? Customs inspection, random check. They opened the container, found me, dehydrated, half dead, but alive. Elena's voice breaks. I was deported back to Philippines. No charges against your father. The family claimed I was mentally ill, that I'd locked myself in the container. Immigration believed them. Silence. I've been following your case. Watched you testify. Watched you destroy your own family to tell the truth. Pause. You saved my life. By speaking up now, you're saving others. I wanted you to know that. I didn't save you, Fatima says. I was 7 when that happened. I didn't even know. You were a child. But you're not anymore. And you chose truth over comfort. That matters. The call ends. Fatima sits there holding the phone. How many Elenas are out there? How many women who survived? How many who didn't? December 4th, 2024. Sentencing day. The courtroom is packed. Standing room only, families of the victims in the front rows, media, human rights observers, Philippine embassy officials. Ahmed and Olivia are brought in separately, both in prison uniforms, both handcuffed. Ahmed looks thinner, gray at the temples, but his eyes are still calculating, still looking for an angle. Olivia looks broken, eyes hollow, face gaunt. She's been in solitary confinement for 3 months, suicide watch, after she tried to hang herself with a bedsheet. Judge Khalifa enters. Everyone stands. Mr. Al-Rashid, Mrs. Al-Rashid, you have been found guilty by a jury of your peers on multiple counts of murder, conspiracy, trafficking, and fraud. Before I pass sentence, I want to say something. He looks directly at them. You were given every advantage, wealth, education, opportunity, and you used those advantages to exploit the most vulnerable people in our society. Women who came to this country seeking a better life, who trusted you, who believed your promises. Pause. You didn't just kill 15 women. You erased them, told the world they went home, let their families wait for phone calls that would never come, let children grow up thinking their mothers abandoned them. Ahmed's lawyer starts to object. The judge cuts him off. I've heard enough from the defense. 3 months of excuses, justifications, attempts to blame everyone except your clients. He turns to the gallery, to the families of the victims. I am deeply sorry for your loss. Sorry that it took 15 years and 15 deaths before someone spoke up. Sorry that the person who finally spoke was a child who shouldn't have had to carry this burden. He looks at Fatima. She's sitting in the back, trying to be invisible. Miss Harper, would you stand, please? Fatima's heart races. Doesn't want this attention. But Margaret nudges her. She stands. What you did required extraordinary courage, the judge says. You gave up everything to tell the truth. Your family, your home, your identity. You will carry the weight of this for the rest of your life. But because you spoke, and 15 women have names again, 15 families have answers, and countless future victims have been spared, he nods at her. She sits down, hands shaking. The judge returns his attention to Ahmed and Olivia. Ahmed Al-Rashid, you are sentenced to death by firing squad. Sentenced to be carried out within 60 days unless appeals are filed and granted. Ahmed doesn't react, just stares straight ahead. Olivia Al-Rashid, you are sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. You will spend the remainder of your natural life in Dubai Central Prison. Olivia collapses. Guards catch her before she hits the ground. Ahmed finally shows emotion, reaches toward his wife. Handcuffs stop him. Olivia, she looks at him. And for the first time, Fatima sees clarity in her mother's eyes. This is your fault, Olivia says. All of it. Every death, every lie. You destroyed us. We built an empire. You built a graveyard, and you made me complicit. Guards separate them, lead them to different exits. Olivia looks back one more time, searching the gallery, finds Fatima. Their eyes meet. Fatima sees her mother trying to say something, lips moving, no sound. Fatima reads the lips. I'm sorry. Too late. 15 years too late. The doors close. Olivia is gone, After the sentencing, outside the courthouse, media swarm. Fatima and Margaret try to leave through a side exit. Don't make it. Cameras, microphones. Questions shouted from all directions. Fatima, how do you feel about the verdict? Do you regret turning in your parents? What will you do now? Are you afraid your father will try to hurt you? Margaret shields Fatima, tries to push through the crowd. Me, but then someone else appears. A woman, 50s, simple dress, carrying a photograph. She pushes through the reporters, stands in front of Fatima. Please, just one moment. Security tries to move her back. Fatima stops them. It's okay. The woman shows Fatima the photograph. A young woman, 22, maybe 23, beautiful smile, nursing uniform. This is my daughter, Luisa. She worked for your father. Disappeared in 2019. I've been looking for her for 5 years. Fatima's throat closes. They found her body last week, the woman continues. In a container at Jebel Ali. She'd been there for 5 years. Tears streamed down the woman's face. I came to Dubai 3 times, filed police reports, went to the embassy, begged everyone to help me find her. They all said the same thing. She probably ran away, probably found a new job, even probably didn't want to come home. Pause. But you knew. You knew they were lying. I'm sorry, Fatima whispers. I'm so sorry I didn't speak sooner. The woman reaches out, takes Fatima's hand. You were a child, living with monsters. The fact that you spoke at all is a miracle. She squeezes Fatima's hand. Thank you for giving me my daughter back. Even if it's just her body, at least now I can bring her home. Bury her properly, say goodbye. Fatima can't speak, can't breathe, just stands there crying. The woman hugs her, tight, desperate. You saved her, she whispers. You gave her a name again. January 2025, London. Fatima lives with her grandmother in a small flat in Islington. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, shared kitchen. Nothing like the penthouse. But it's safe, quiet. No one disappears. She enrolled in school. Local comprehensive. New name, new identity, but people know. You're the girl from Dubai, the one who turned in her parents. Some kids think she's a hero, some think she's a snitch, some just think she's damaged. She keeps her head down, doesn't make friends. Eats lunch alone. Her therapist, court-mandated twice a week, asks her how she's adjusting. I'm fine. Are you having nightmares? Sometimes. What do you dream about? Marisol, head at the wrong angle, eyes open, staring at nothing. Just normal stuff, school, tests. The therapist doesn't push, but writes notes. The trial is over. Your parents are in prison. You're safe now. Do you feel safe? Fatima thinks about this. I don't think I'll ever feel safe again. Why not? Because I know now what people are capable of, what they'll do for money, for comfort, for a penthouse in the sky. Pause. I lived with evil for 15 years and called it normal. March 2025. The Divina Foundation. Fatima can't just go to school and pretend 15 women didn't die. She uses money from a book deal. Publisher paid her £200,000 for the rights to her story to establish a foundation named after Divina, the woman who told her she could choose who she became. Mission: help families of trafficking victims find answers. Work with Philippine authorities, embassies across the Gulf, investigators who specialize in cold cases. Margaret helps her set it up. Lawyers, accountants, board members. The first family they help? Marisol's, small town in Leyte. Marisol's mother lives in a wooden house, no running water, electricity that cuts out every few days. She's 53 but looks 70. Life has been hard. Fatima flies to the Philippines, takes 14 hours, doesn't sleep the entire flight, arrives at the house, small, weathered, surrounded by rice paddies. Marisol's mother, Rosa, is waiting outside. She sees Fatima, starts crying. They sit inside. Rosa serves tea with shaking hands, photos of Marisol everywhere, baby pictures, school pictures, the last photo before she left for Dubai, 19 years old, bright smile, eyes full of hope. She wanted to be a nurse, Rosa says. Studied so hard, but we couldn't afford university. The agency said she could work in Dubai for 2 years, save money, come back and finish her degree. Fatima listens. She called me once, the day she arrived. Said she got to Dubai safely, said the job was at a hotel, said she'd call again soon. Pause. That was the last time I heard her voice. Rosa's hands shake, holding the teacup. I waited 3 weeks, no call. I called the agency. They said she was fine, just busy with work. I called the hotel, the one she said she'd be working at. They said they had no employee by that name. Tears streaming down her face now. I called the embassy. They said they couldn't help without more information. I borrowed money, flew to Dubai, went to the police. They took a report, said they'd investigate. I waited 3 days. They said there was no evidence of foul play, that Marisol probably found a different job, that I should go home and wait. Rosa looks at Fatima. I waited 5 years. I knew something was wrong, but no one would listen. Fatima reaches across the table, takes Rosa's hands. I'm listening now. Why didn't you speak sooner? The question is gentle, not accusatory, just honest. I was scared. I was a child, living with parents who killed people. And I convinced myself I was imagining things, that I was wrong, that it couldn't possibly be what it looked like. Pause. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry I didn't speak sooner. I'm sorry I couldn't save her. Rosa squeezes Fatima's hands, calloused, work-worn, hands that scrubbed floors and harvested rice and did whatever it took to give her daughter a chance. You spoke. That's more than anyone else ever did. They sit in silence. Then Rosa asks, did she suffer? Fatima thinks about lying, saying it was quick, painless. But Rosa deserves the truth. I don't know. I didn't see it happen. I just saw after. Rosa nods, accepts this. Can you tell me about her last days? Yeah, it's what was she like? Fatima describes the 3 weeks Marisol was in the penthouse. How she was scared, but trying to be brave. How she talked about her family, how she tried to send a letter home. How she just wanted her mother to know she was okay. She loved you, Fatima says. Every day she talked about you, about coming home. Rosa breaks down completely, sobbing. Fatima sits with her, holds her hands, lets her cry. After a long time, Rosa asks, will you help me bring her home? Yes. The foundation pays for Marisol's body to be transported from Dubai to Leyte. Pays for the funeral, proper burial, headstone with her name. Rosa insists Fatima attend. The funeral is small, family, neighbors, a few friends from school who remembered the bright girl who wanted to be a nurse. Fatima stands in the back, meets watching Rosa say goodbye to the daughter she waited 5 years to find. After the burial, Rosa approaches Fatima. Thank you for giving her back to me, for making sure the world knows her name. Fatima can't speak, just nods. Rosa hugs her, tight, like a mother. You carry heavy burden, Rosa whispers. 15 names, 15 women, that's too much for one person. Someone has to remember them. Yes, but you don't have to carry them alone. June 2025. The other families. Fatima helps 12 more families through the Divina Foundation, each one similar. Daughters, sisters, mothers who left for Dubai, believing promises, who disappeared, whose families waited years for answers. Some bodies are never found. But at least the families know the truth now. know their loved ones didn't abandon them, didn't choose to disappear. H were victims of people who saw them as disposable. Fatima meets each family personally, sits in their homes, listens to their stories, holds their hands while they cry. It's destroying her. Margaret sees it. You can't save everyone. You can't fix this. I can try. You're 16 years old. You should be in school, making friends, living your life. 15 women are dead because I stayed silent. You were a child. I'm not anymore. September 2025. 1 year later. It's been exactly 1 year since Fatima walked into that police station. She's 17 now. Still in school, still running the foundation, still carrying 15 names. Rosario, Teresita, Corazon, Divina, Marisol, Luisa, and 9 others whose families she's helped find closure. She keeps the black notebook, original one. It's the one she wrote in that night after Divina told her to remember. Opens it sometimes, reads the names. Makes sure she hasn't forgotten a single detail. Ahmed is still alive. Appeals process dragging on. Could be years before the execution. Olivia is in prison. Has written to Fatima 3 times. Letters forwarded through lawyers. Fatima hasn't opened them. Not ready. Maybe never will be. Documentary crew comes to London. Same one that interviewed families in the Philippines. They want Fatima's side of the story. She agrees. On one condition. The focus stays on the victims, not on me. This isn't about me being brave. It's about 15 women who deserve to live. They agree. Final question of the interview. Do you think you'll ever forgive yourself for not speaking sooner? Fatima considers this. No, I don't think I will. Which I should have known sooner. Should have spoken sooner. 15 women are dead. And I lived in that penthouse eating breakfast while they were being murdered in the basement. Pause. But I can't change the past. I can only choose what I do now, and I choose to remember, to make sure their names don't disappear, to help their families find answers. Another pause. Divina told me I'm not my parents, that I can choose who I become. So that's what I'm doing. Choosing every day to be someone who tells the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter what it costs. What would you say to other young people who see something wrong but are afraid to speak up? Fatima looks directly at the camera. Speak anyway, even if you're terrified, even if it destroys your life. Because silence protects the people doing harm. And if you stay silent, you become complicit. Pause. I stayed silent for 15 years. 15 women died. I'll carry that for the rest of my life. Don't make the same mistake I did. Fatima waited 15 years to understand what she was seeing. Then she waited 6 more months to make sure her testimony was perfect. She gave up everything, her family, her home, her name, her entire identity, to tell the truth. If you think more people should hear this story, share it. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe to True Crime Story 247. And tell me, could you have done what she did at 15? Could you have turned in your own parents? Could you have walked away from a penthouse worth 50 million dirhams to sit in a police station and destroy your entire family? Let me know in the comments. These women's names deserve to be remembered. Rosario, Teresita, de Corazon, Divina, Marisol, and 10 others whose stories we're still uncovering. Take care of yourselves out there. November 2025. Fatima turns 18, legal adult now, can make her own decisions. She decides to visit Olivia, takes a flight to Dubai, first time back since the trial. The city looks different, or maybe she does. Dubai Central Prison, women's wing, visiting room, thick glass partition, phones to communicate. Olivia is brought in. Prison uniform, hair gray, face lined. She looks 60, she's 49. She picks up the phone. Fatima picks up hers. Long silence, then Olivia. You came. I came. I didn't think you would. Neither did I. More silence. I read your letters. Fatima says, all 3. And? And I'm here. That doesn't mean I forgive you, it just means I'm listening. Olivia nods. Tears in her eyes. So, I'm sorry. For everything, for every lie, for every woman, for making you grow up in that house. Why did you do it? Because I was weak? Because I chose comfort over conscience? Because Ahmed made it easy to look away? Pause. No, that's not fair. Ahmed didn't make me do anything. I chose it. Every day I chose the penthouse over their lives. Fatima watches her mother cry, feels nothing. No sympathy, no anger, just emptiness. Will you ever forgive me? Olivia asks. I don't know. Ask me in 20 years. Olivia nods. Understands. I'm proud of you, she says, for speaking up, for choosing differently than I did. Don't, Fatima says. Don't try to take credit for this. You don't get to be proud. You get to spend the rest of your life in a cell thinking about 15 dead women. Silence. Fatima stands up. Wait, Olivia says. Will you come back? Visit again? Maybe, I don't know. Fatima hangs up the phone, walks out, doesn't look back. Fatima carries 15 names everywhere she goes, written in the black notebook she keeps in her bag. Rosario, Teresita, Corazon, Divina, Marisol, Luisa, Carmen, Elena, Maria, Josephine, Grace, Anna, Sophia, Luz, Christina. 15 women, 15 daughters, 15 mothers, sisters, aunts, friends, 15 human beings who came to Dubai believing in promises, who worked themselves to exhaustion, who were murdered when they became inconvenient. Fatima will carry them until the day she dies, because someone has to remember. Someone has to say their names. Someone has to make sure the world knows they existed, that they mattered, that their lives weren't disposable. She's 17 years old. She has the rest of her life to make sure they're never forgotten.